Good afternoon, it's Jeff Kurtz, CompostCritter.com. This afternoon we are going to look at a Cascade Worm bin that just arrived at my place new from the manufacturer. Comes in this nice box, complete with instructions and everything you need to build your own worm farm. The unique item with the Cascade 360 is called the worm ladder, and it's a little plastic adapter that kind of helps the worms find their way from a lower bin to an upper bin. So we'll show you where the ladder fits a little later in the discussion here. This slide is going to show us the bottom tray, which has a drainage spout for the liquids that run through the bin, the worm ladder, and the lid. The lid's going to help you keep varmints and fruit flies and such out of your bin. In this slide, we're looking at all of the components. We have the bottom tray, the ladder, the lid, a bag of shredded paper. They are nice enough to send that along, although you can make your own. That's easy enough. And there are 4 trays in this bin, so you can build one tray at a time, let the worms accumulate, let them eat everything in one tray, and then they add the ladder and then put the second tray on top. And you'll also see a block of coir, C-O-I-R, which is shredded coconut husks. And that's a nice material for bedding your worms, although you can bed them with anything from dead leaves, the composted grass clippings, whatever you might have around your place. You take the bottom tray with the spigot, just stack the first tray right on top, and that's where you begin. Let's take a look here at there's the bag of shredded paper, and this paper and cardboard helps oxygen find its way into your worm bin by providing some bulk, providing some fiber, and providing carbon, which is very important to the worm's diet. The carbon content should be about 30% of what you feed to the worms. But this helps keep your food in the worm bin loose. It helps oxygen work its way into the bed so things don't start to ferment. Let's take a look here at a block of coir, C-O-I-R, which is this shredded coconut. We put the block in a bucket of water, and it's going to, just like a dry sponge, it's going to start absorbing the water and swelling up and kind of uncompacting, so you have a couple pounds of a nice loose material that the worms can consume and will eventually become worm castings, become worm poop. So we let that block absorb a bunch of water, and then we're going to dump it into the worm bin. There it is. We just put it in that bottom tray. So that's going to be the initial source of bedding and feed for your worms. In this coir, you're going to put your food, your table scraps, composted grass clippings. And then when I say that, I mean grass clippings cannot go in here fresh. They need to compost through the heating phase of composting before you throw them in here, or they'll cook your worms, as it were. Then you can pile in a bunch of worms. Now these worms I dumped in are from another bed, so there's a bunch of compost, a bunch of worm poop. But these worms are going to work their way into the bed and become our new population. That population will double every 90 days or so. On top of the worms, we put the shredded paper and cardboard, and that provides a physical barrier to things like gnats and flies, so that they know your food's down there, but they can't get to it. And it's an odor barrier. You don't smell the decaying products in your worm bin if you keep it covered with wet paper and cardboard like this. Now you see we just I'd pour about a gallon in to get it started. Soak that surface nice, and that'll keep your worms going. Then we're going to pop the lid on, and of course the lid has a perforated section so you can get ventilation through it, but that is the ultimate barrier to flies and such. And then my worm bin happens to sit right on the front porch of my house. Sorry, I didn't sweep the sidewalk. But it's going to stand there, and the bottom tray is now full of core, worms, and newspaper. The other trays we will fill in the weeks and months to come, and we're on our way to having a worm farm. It's Jeff Kurtz at compostcritter.com. Appreciate your time. Have a great day, and do stay in touch.